Good morning or afternoon or whatever it is, wherever you are. Let's see if anybody's going to actually show up and be here. California Bear, good morning. How are you? Let's flip over like this. How about that? Ricky Last, good morning, Ricky. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Life in the Philippines, traveler. Why do expats post daily to 3 times a week while they are retired in the Philippines? Why aren't they traveling and exploring the Philippines like vlogger pro-life traveler in his vlogs? Well, I don't watch pro-life traveler. I don't know anything about him, to be honest with you, but it's because many of them are broke. Many of them are broke. Why do you think, if they had the money to travel around and do that, they would? I mean, take a look at our playlist. It shows you all the places that we've been, countries we've been, everything else. When you find vloggers that are telling you how the Philippines are and what the Philippines are about, and how much they know about the Philippines, and yet they've been nowhere. They don't go anywhere. Shit, some of them don't even get out of their apartment and make it to the mall. Yeah, that's why. As far as pro-life traveler goes, I don't know. I don't watch him. He's not on my list. So that's what I would say to that. Slick Rick, good morning, Slick Rick. How are things up in San Francisco? Philly in the Philippines, good morning, Mike. Good morning, Brian. Hope you guys are doing well. Scott F, good morning, Mike. McLovin's with us. Oh my God. How you doing, McLovin? It's good to see you. Tim Diziak, good morning, Mike. I'm back in the Philippines. Good for you, Tim. Where are you at? What part of the Philippines? How long are you going to be here? Bobby Gill, 79. You don't look 3/4 dead today. I'm not. I'm feeling much better. Much better. Thank you. Luke Dog, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? Good morning from hot ass Southern California. Ricky saying hello to everybody. Well, what is it? How is it? What's it do? I mean, you know what? All right, so Arlen is in the province. And because Arlen's in the province, I got to find things to keep me busy. And when I find things to keep me busy, it tends to get me irritated sometimes. I guess that's the best idea, all right, or the best word for it at this time is simply I'm watching some, I'm doing all kinds of stuff, but eventually I end up watching YouTube. And I got to tell you, the past 4 or 5 days, I have been watching YouTube, I don't know, maybe an hour or 2 a day in the evenings, when there's nothing on Netflix worth a shit, or on the pirate TV that we have that's worth watching. And the amount of bullshit, the amount of absolute misinformation coming out of vloggers is getting to be crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I saw a guy yesterday talking about how, you got to get an exit clearance and this and that. And he goes on, yeah, sure. All right. A good bit of what he says is accurate. Great. Good. If you're going to want to get that kind of information, first off, why don't you try and get that kind of information from somebody who actually has experience with it? Okay? Because this guy is telling you, first off, you got to get this stuff 2 weeks in advance. You got to do this. You got to get your exit. He didn't even know what it was called. Didn't even know it's called an ECC. And he's been here 10 plus years. So apparently he must be an overstay. He's got to be an overstay because it's obvious he's never gone through it. I can tell you right now, he omitted things that were important. He did all kinds of bullshit that wasn't true. You don't get an NBI clearance. You don't get, you have, if you're over 6 months, you have to get an ECC before you leave the country because they want to make sure that you don't have anything on your police blotter. All right, that you're not wanted for anything, that nobody's filed complaints that need to be resolved. Sure. And he said that. That's true. You don't get it from, first off, you don't have to go to Bureau of Immigration to get it, number one. All right. Number two, you don't get an MBI. He said you got to get an MBI too, National Bureau of Investigation. It's like an FBI type thing. Okay. No, you don't. You don't ever do that. That is just bullshit. It's an absolute lie. All right. It's misinformation. All right. Number one. Number two, you don't have to go to immigration to get an ECC. You can get an ECC online. You've been able to get an ECC online for several years now. In addition to that, you don't have to go, let's say it was before you could get it online. And by the way, I had to get an ECC myself about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago. All right. Arlinda and I travel, and we travel different countries. And because we do, it's not unusual that I'm not in the Philippines that 6 months. Okay. So I don't have to get one, but when I do, I can get them online. But prior to that, you can get them at the airport if you go. And that's the other part of the system here. You can go to Manila. I don't know about Cebu. I'm pretty sure they have it there as well. All right. But you can go to Cebu, to Manila. If you go to Terminal 3, it's got to be Terminal 3, even though Terminal 1 does have international flights. Terminal 3, third floor, all the way as you're facing the terminal from outside, be all the way to the left, all right, at Terminal 3, and they have a one-stop shop. And I can tell you that in the 2 occasions over the years that I've had to get an ECC, something? Took about 10 minutes to fill out the paperwork. You show them your ticket, you show them your passport, and you get your ECC. And that takes about another 5 minutes, 15 minutes. We had a group of 8 of us going through there once, and we were all of us, because they had 2 desks going, all of us got our ECCs in a matter of 30 minutes. We cleared the whole group. In addition to that, okay, they were very nice, pleasant, easy. You can pay it right there. I can't remember how much it was. I don't know, maybe 1,000, 1,500 pesos for an ECC. I can't remember. All right. The other thing that this person did not tell you is that if you have an SRRV, you don't get an ECC, SRRV. And that means, Americans are not the only people that get SRRVs. Okay. Australians can get SRRV. The British guys can get SRRV. A lot of other people can get SRRVs. All right. And there are SRRVs that have nothing to do with being a veteran that other people can get. But if you have an SRRV, you're exempt forever, or until that SRRV is pulled, you're exempt from getting an exit clearance. The other thing is if you're balikbayan and you haven't overstayed your balikbayan privilege, you don't get an ECC, an exit. So, it's just a lie. It's misrepresentation. I saw another blogger talking about, this was a guy talking about relationships. Okay? Now, this one blogger is all the time, you know what? I'll tell you who it is, Brian. I saw that. Chosen One just timed in. ECC's 500 pesos. Yeah, I haven't gotten one in so long, Chosen One. I just don't remember. So either way, So you look at these bloggers that are telling you about relationships. Okay, let's talk about relationships. Now, most of us have come from a failed relationship. Many of us. All right. I don't know. Chosen One may have been single all his life. I got no idea offhand. Sunset Travel may have been single all his life. But many of us come from broken relationships already. So that kind of should put us at a disadvantage of how we should be able to give you information on how to cultivate, how to maintain, how to do whatever with a relationship. But they failed already. Now you're getting information. I mean, this is kind of like when you cheat on a test. Let's see. So Arlene says 500 is just an express lane. Arlene's in the province, trying to keep me straight here. She said 500 is just a express lane. I know it was more than 1K that I paid last time. Okay, so that's it. But anyways, my point is that they've already failed at relationships. That's like going to a guy, all right, that's already failed at whatever advice you're trying to get, and you're going to go to him anyways. That's stupid. That is stupid. So then you start to look at, well, you know what? Here's a guy that says that he is going to tell you all about how Filipino women are. He's going to tell you all about how Filipino families are. He's going to tell you all about having a relationship and how to deal with it. He's had one relationship with a Filipino woman, and it failed. And right now, he still has no other relationship. Okay? Getting advice from dumbasses, all right? Getting advice from losers. Well, I almost said a bad word there. Getting advice from losers is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how is a guy that can barely support himself going to give you decent advice on budgeting and living in the Philippines? He can give you maybe advice on how a loser budgets. He can maybe give you advice on how a broke expat budgets. Well, if that's what you are, then that's what you are. Okay? I don't think so. I really and truly don't. There's just so much out there. It's ridiculous. It has been crazy to see all of this stuff. Philly, Brian, just so you know, Arlen just sent me a text, said good morning to Philly. So Arlen says good morning to you and lot. So either way, you see where I'm coming at from here. Let's try and catch up on some of the comments here. Good morning, Mike and Arlen. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Mike, McLovin. Tim's back, and you don't look 3/4 dead. I'm getting caught up. John at My Little World. Good morning, John. Thank you for joining. Bruce, Big Bruce, met him and his partner, significant other, last time he was there, or last time I saw him anyways. Really nice folks. Heath McDaniel, good morning from Southeast Tennessee. Next week be Gary, Indiana. Wow. Traveling around or moving, or what's the deal, Heath? McLovin, doing good. 60-day countdown till the move. Good for you, McLovin. Oh, yeah, Tim lives in Mabalacat. Okay, that's right. Ricky Last, been watching TikTok here, and all they're worried about is Cracker Barrel changing the logo. Yeah, Ricky, isn't that the stupidest shit ever? I'm going to go to a restaurant because of the logo. I'm going to go to the restaurant because of the decor. We're not going to say anything about the food, are we? That is stupid as crap. Chippy Whiska, how you doing, Chippy? Nice to see you. Thank you for dropping in. Bruce says, at least my messages are not being held for review. No way, Bruce. No way. You know, I think Brian just had you in timeout, maybe. I'm sure it was just a YouTube thing. Brian wouldn't have done that to you. John Allen, good morning, Mike. Hope to be back in December, trip number 10. Hope it will be permanent. Well, good deal, John. I hope you're planning it well. I hope everything's going well. We really do. Michael Atos, greetings from your anus. Well, Michael, you know, you're out there, that's for sure. I'm not sure which planet you're orbiting, but you're out there. Good morning from the Buckeye State. Good morning, Barry. Thank you for joining. Can you name some of these vloggers? I could, you know, but I'm not. I'm not going to name them because I think it's important that rather than people forming an opinion based on me saying their name, they should look at these people's channels and try and figure it out. You know, because otherwise they're relying on another unknown. Don't rely on just what we say. All right. We don't know everything. We don't know. We can be wrong. We could have a biased opinion. You know, there are bloggers out there that are probably very accurate, but I just think they're dumbasses to begin with. You know, it just comes down to that. It really and truly does. You need to learn to do some of your own research. That's what you need. All right. Good morning from the Buckeye. Can you name? Man, Philly's just trying to get me in trouble this morning. A brisk, cool, early fall night in Michigan. Summer's slipping away. Geez. A nice, cool, not humid night would be nice. That's for sure. Chosen one, expert on the Philippines. I just don't like to share my knowledge. That's because chosen one's knowledge is going to be how to get to the bottom of that beer bottle. That is something Chosen can give you a great amount of information on. Saying hello. Brewmeister, how you doing, Brew? Thanks for dropping in. Philip, Sunset Travel, good morning. How you doing? Are you back yet, or are you still out? Chosen said 500 pesos. Arlene is saying that's the express lane, that ours was more. Arlene doesn't get an ECC. All right. She's a Filipino national. She doesn't have to get an ECC. Instead, immigration says, why are you going where you're going? All right. Even though she's got multiple country stamps, you know, it's like they're pretending to protect her. I don't believe so. Bob Barker, Americans aren't the only expat, but we're the most handsome. I don't know about that. I'm pretty ugly. Although I have a buddy, Eddie, my best friend here. And Eddie, you know what? If I didn't have a tremendous, a great, the perfect wife, if I didn't have a great Filipino wife, Eddie would be getting me in trouble left and right. Eddie took me out. Excuse me. This still got a little bit of this post-nasal drip. Eddie took me out yesterday. He wanted to go to lunch, and then he wanted to go bar hopping during the day, and he wanted to go to some Korean bars. We heard all these people talk about the Korean bars. They get all the best looking girls, and the Korean bars have, the better looking girls, and they're there early in the morning and everything. So we went to lunch, and then we went to the Korean bars, and I'm going to tell you about that in a few minutes. Let me try and get caught up here, and then we'll come back to that. Chosen One says, I've been single all my life, just not in the physical form. There you go. McLovin says he came from a broken condom. You got to have that chicken insurance. And if you don't know what chicken insurance is, you need to watch my last video. You really do. Sunset says, no, I have been through wife number one. So yeah, I guess one-time failure. Well, and not all failures are those people's faults. All right. Good morning, Arlen from Mindanao. Philly tell you back. He says, never been married here. Seen parents divorce after 34 years. I said, nope, not to me. Yeah, that's a tough one, Heath. It really is. Chosen One, we need names. There are many loser vloggers. Well, Chosen One, tell us, who are some of the loser vloggers that you know? And I'll tell you what I think. Barry Graham, I'm broke in Ohio. Well, you know what, Barry? There's a lot of people that are financially stressed in the U.S. and in the Philippines. Doesn't matter. I mean, there are so many broke expats. It's crazy. It is crazy. Yes, we need names so we don't watch these losers. Keep it up, Brian. You are just bound and determined. Tim says, I always use a travel agency to book my travel. They're up to date with all the requirements. For me, SRV visa is the way to go. Yeah, for many people, the SRV is the perfect way to go. It's $1,500 plus the $1,500 dollar application fee. You put it in the bank of their choice. You leave it there. And I know 3 different expats that gave up their SRRVs over the years, and they got their money. They all got their money. Now, it took them, a month to 2 months to get it, but they all got their money. James Gilbert. Good morning, James. How's things going? Rick is, oh man, everybody's trying to get me in trouble this morning. My God. Mike, make sure they have a condo open in your Candy Palace. I think Philly's ready to move back. Joke only. I don't think so. I don't think Philly wants to move back, but he might come here for a visit. You never know. He might. JJ, the Lonely Bull. How you doing, JJ? It's good to see you. I met JJ for lunch one day. Travel a little bit in September, Gary, then Chicago, then Valparaiso, Indiana, and Station, Michigan. Wow, Heath, is this business or are you just traveling for pleasure? Oh my God, CJ, I'm so jealous of CJ abroad. CJ is a young guy. You should watch his videos. He is transforming himself to what he wants. All right. He's decided the Philippines is not where he wants to end up. He's decided that Thailand is where he wants to at least get a base, and he's going to continue to look around. Plus, he's sitting in Pattaya right there with tons of great restaurants. Why do research when vloggers can give you all the information? That's just it, Brian. The information they're giving is so effed up. It is just ridiculous. It is sad. It is sad that they would give that misinformation. And then it's a little bit sad that unfortunately viewers won't verify it. Viewers won't sit there and say, hey, I should research this. I should look at this. I should think about this. Okay? So much of what you see are paid, scripted instances. In other words, oh, look at all these people, blah, 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 and they've paid them. They've absolutely paid them to be that way. They've paid it. YouTube is more entertainment than it is information nowadays. Nowadays, it is literally like reality TV that's not real. It's like Housewives of Atlanta or LA or, $1 million home listing or whatever. I mean, I rated right up there with the show about Bigfoot. All right, hunting Bigfoot. I mean, you can't possibly believe those people are legit, right? You got to know that I put it right up there with the ghost hunters and everything that goes along with that. Oh, did you hear that? Look, let me get my spectral device looking for slime. Oh, give me a rash. What a ration of shit. Bruce says, I started to think my problem on the Philly channel was an issue with my computer. I rebooted the whole thing. I think I'm okay now. Good thing. Big Dave. How you doing, Dave? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Phil, there you go. Have a nice day. Good morning. How are you? Oh, man, let me get started. I double dog dare you, chosen one. I double dog dare you. Stun says, still in Australia. I feel like an ATM. Yeah, well, that's what relatives are good for, huh? When you take care of relatives, it costs money. Pablo Chicano. ¿Cómo está, Pablo? How are you? Rob Sells Mexico. I don't know Rob Sells Mexico, but okay. Gio has failed over and over in relationships, including his last marriage. Still gives advice. Yeah, he does. He does. You're absolutely correct. And that's a point. Are you going to take his advice? If he was to come out and say, let me tell you how to screw up a relationship. Let me tell you how a relationship gets ruined. Let me tell you how to make mistakes. Well, then that would be a different thing. But they don't. They don't tell you that. They just tell you, this is how I find women. This is where I find women. This is what this is what I say. Wait till you hear about my conversations bar hopping here yesterday. It was funny. And unfortunately, Arlene is listening to this and we didn't get a chance to talk too much. So she's going to be going, what? Arlene's in Mindanao right now. She's at our house down in Mindanao for Fiesta with her family. Bob Barker, good morning. Slick Rick. Skip it all. Howdy all. How you doing, Skip it all? Thank you. Loser vlogger number 1, Sick Grandpa. You know what? Sick Grandpa is entertainment. If you have to rely on him for complete information, then that is a loss. He is sheer entertainment. That's it. That's all he is. Now, whether you like that kind of entertainment or another is a different thing, but he is entertainment. I did watch his live stream this morning. I was up about 2:30 this morning. And so I watched his live stream from yesterday, last night. I guess I missed it by a couple hours or something. And it was funny. It really was. I understand he broke up with Apple, although he didn't break up with Apple. He just found out Apple was getting compensated from others. So he did the right thing. He just said, you know what? You're no longer in my zip code, woman. You're out of here. Now, we'll see how long it takes. I mean, quite frankly, Apple and Sick Grandpa had a pretty unique relationship. So we'll see how long that lasts. Barry Graham, why do they lie about info? What's the point? It's not that they lie so much, Barry. It's that they don't know. It's they are truly ignorant and don't know. Or I will give some leeway. They could be just stupid. They can't remember what they did last week. I mean, I know I'm old. I know that memory can be an issue. But geez, that's the way it is. They're crazy. Chosen one. You know what? Let me flip this back over so you guys, that gets that out of the way. Too many losers to name, honestly. I say 85% of vloggers are losers. It's easier to name vloggers thriving in the Philippines. Maybe sick grandpa and yourself. I can count them on one hand. My nose did drain into my chest for a while. So are you saying sick grandpa and I are the loser side or the thriving side? Chosen one. Sick grandpa. Bruce, I check on everything I hear. When the weatherman says the sun is up now at high noon, I look outside, see if it's free. GD, good morning, GD. Antics, Philippine antics. George and Heidi, how are you guys? Good morning. That's why we care less about facts and more about entertainment. And you know what? That's something that you do need to pay attention to. You honestly need to recognize that YouTube is entertainment. It can be purely entertainment. And you don't listen, you should not take at face value anything that anybody says. Good morning. Good morning, Heidi, or George, or both, whichever one. Good day, Mike. Regards to Arlen. Good morning, Ruby. How you doing? Michael, hopefully my new 2026 Toyota will be delivered to the dealership this week. Nice. Nice. Okay, where are we? 31 minutes, 73 in the room. Wow. That is awesome for my little tiny channel here. Arlen will be proud. She's been having a unique experience in the province this week. I think, I don't know whether it's still raining. She had a couple days of nice weather, and then the last 2 days, it's been raining. So we'll hope that. JJ says, number one, they lie on their channels to get clicks. Number two, they don't lie. They just guess, and they don't really know. And that's true, JJ. That's exactly what I'm saying. They're either trying to embellish the truth, trying to embellish everything to get those clicks because they're broke and they need those clicks to get money, or they're entertainment, or they just don't know. They're just dumbasses. And it happens. It happens. He says we have Bigfoot convention in the Smoky Mountains. I just laugh at. Yeah, it's just kind of like when they had the big alien convention over there near Area 51. All right, Although don't tell Arlen you don't believe in Bigfoot. Man, she used to love to watch that show. Todd M. Good morning, Mike and Arlen. Good morning, Todd. Slick Rick, good day. Pablo, Gio's a player. I don't know if he's a player. I just know that it's obvious that Gio can have Gio must be a little difficult to have a relationship with, or Gio just picks him wrong. Whatever. Tim K is back in the Philippines. How do you know this, Rawson? How do you know Tim K is back in the Philippines? I don't know about that. I mean, I don't doubt it. It's certainly possible. He's married to, what's her name? Chrissy, I think. And maybe he brought their child over for the grandparents to see, or maybe he's got business he's got to take care of here, or he's dropping by. I don't know. Who knows? He may have a legitimate reason. Skip it all. I have a YouTube bridge in London to sell you at all trust of, the UK. All right. For those of you that don't know, we're going to, on September the 6th, I think it is. Just a second. Let me see. Is this it? No, that's not it. Just a second. No, that's not it. Just a second. you brought up the UK, skip it all. I've been really watching a lot of the news about what's going on in the UK. And that is a topic that we are going to cover in the members only section when we start. So we're going to start on September 6th. We're going to have our first members only live stream, and we're going to be discussing global events in the members only sections, events and opinions that are too controversial for the main channel. So if you consider becoming a member of the member sections, that'd be great. You can weigh in because the UK is having some huge issues right now. Huge issues. Where can I find baby dolls? Okay, Bob. All right. So let me tell you what happened yesterday so that we can get this going. So my buddy Eddie says, hey, you know what? Let's go out for lunch and let's go to a couple of these Korean bars. All right. I want to go to these Korean bars. And so I said, okay, whatever. I got nothing else going on. I don't know what's going on here. Hang on just a second. Let me just make this one little adjustment. Whoops. There we go. That's better. All right. So I think it is anyways. Anyways, becoming a member, you'll get exposed to the more controversial stuff. But going back, I'm sorry, we're talking about bar hopping. So Eddie and I go to lunch. We go, and he wants this one bar. He thinks there's somebody that works there that he knows, some girl, I'm sure. All right. And Eddie doesn't bar find girls, okay? He does not do that. This is purely out for shits and grins and laughs. And we'll go into this first bar. There are 8 girls on stage, okay? And I'm going to tell you, some of these girls been eating a lot of fish sticks and Jollibee, man. I mean, there's some major weight on that stage. And this is a Korean bar. Now, granted, this was on perimeter. This was out by Margarita Station. So not the best environment, so to speak. So I had a bottle of water there. Eddie had a drink. We left. We go into the next bar. Okay? We didn't even sit down. It was just horrible. So he says, you know what, Mike? Let's go down by Walking Street, where brown sugar, soya, insomnia, old time, Ace bars, all of those bars are. So we said, okay, Eddie, I'll go. Oh my God, 80 in the room at 38 minutes. Wow. So we go down there. And the first bar we go into is Soya. And I will tell you, I was not particularly impressed at all. However, we did have this waitress, and she was funny. She was not a beautiful girl. She was not a young girl. She might have been young, all right, but she wasn't a beautiful girl by any way, shape, or means. And she wasn't slim, trim, and baby doll. She was not a baby doll, as Ace Bachelor Cool would call them. So we had I had a soda there, and Eddie had water or soda, I can't remember. And we chatted with a couple girls, and we laughed and laughed and laughed. But none of it was impressive by any way, shape, or means. So now it was time to go to the next bar. So we go to the third bar. So we end up going into Ace Bar. And so that, first off, small bar. I mean, it's actually a big bar, but they only had like 5 girls, and I don't know, one was about half the size of a carabao, a small carabao. All right. You know, I guess the best thing that I can say is I don't know where Ace Bachelor Cool is hunting down these baby dolls and morning shift girls and everything else. I can tell you, we were at the bars from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon to about 4 o'clock, all totaled. And I was not impressed. It's not something in my life that I find I'm going to have to repeat. But Eddie is on a bender. Now Eddie wants to go do a morning shift. Eddie wants me to go have breakfast with him, all right, and then go to the Korean bars on Red Street at 10 o'clock in the morning before all the good girls are gone. And I'm like, oh, man, are you serious? Are you really serious? All right. I mean, you know, how do I explain this to Arlene? How do I tell her, oh, you know, because Eddie also wants me to go out one night to mega dance and, you know, see all the girls that are out there and to blog about that. And it's kind of like, wait a minute, Eddie. Why am I? He says, yeah, but we can't go until like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning? I've already been in bed asleep for 3 hours. Are you serious? He says, no, you have to take a nap all afternoon and into the evening. And then we'll go have dinner around 10. And then we'll go to Mega Dance. I'm like, I don't know. Philly says, get down to the Mercado to find women. It's not something that I'm going to do, that's for sure. Skip it. I'll have a YouTube bridge in London. Where can I find? Where was it? Okay, here we go. George K. Good morning, Mike. I'll be back in October. Be there for Halloween. I'm not sure whether we're going to be doing the Halloween thing again this year. I don't. I have some reservations about doing it. It's something I have to talk to Arlen about, to be honest with you, George. But thanks for dropping in. Wade, don't take Sick Grandpa too seriously, but he is entertaining. Yeah, he is. He is entertaining. And some of the information he has is absolutely correct. I've never heard him lie. I've never heard him put out misinformation, but he's never put out information that I would depend on or want to know about to live my life. I actually have met Sick Grandpa. Arlen and I ran into Sick Grandpa at Shooter's Bar one night. We were doing a bar hop with friends. He was here in Angeles. I saw him. I went over, introduced myself. He was a nice guy. Very pleasant. Very, very pleasant. Darren from Davao. How you doing, Darren? Are you still in town? Yeah, I think you are. You're going to be in town this whole time. Barry Graham. Remember the movie Dumb and Dumber? Indeed, Barry. Indeed. Pablo says, yeah, he's funny. McLovin. I always laugh at the budget videos when they say you can live on $1,000 a month. That's not living, it's existing. You know, McLovin, I once said that in a vlog, and I got more shit. You know, what's the difference? You know, I said $1,000 a month, you're existing, not living. And man, every broke expat and their brother sent me a comment that was just so mean. It made me want to cry. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hurt your feelings. Oh, fuck that. Oh, excuse me. There, I knew it was going to come out sooner or later. I apologize. All right. But screw that. You're catching up to Philly on your numbers, at least for live watchers. Oh no, I'll never be there. Only once have I gotten over 110 people in a live. Only once. That's it. Usually, although 87 right now, 86, that's a lot. That is a lot. Let me get rid of this. Okay, I think this has been out long enough. We're just gonna, you know what? We'll just put this in. There we go. There we go. Hector, now I know what you mean when you say there are a lot of rich Filipinos. They are mostly contractors who got awarded multi-billion peso flood control. You know, Hector, there's going to be so much shit about that, but I don't think anybody's going to get popped for it. Really and truly, I don't. I mean, let's be honest. You know, let's be honest. How many of you people think that they're actually going to find and do something about the corruption on the flood control projects that never got done, the ghost projects? You know, I mean, we can cover that in the members section one day as well. McLevin, budget is relative on one's living standard. Comfortable to others may not be to someone. Those budget videos are just for a reference point. Yeah, Ruby, they are. If the people that are putting them out would be honest, would show how they live, not sit in a nice background. They're not sitting at Starbucks telling you this is how I live. You know what I want to see? I want to see their CR. I want to see their bedroom. I want to see their bed. I want to see the neighborhood that they live in. I want to see that. When I see a budget video, show me how clean your place is, not how well you make the bed. How clean is it? All right? Do you know? I mean, is there a rust stain in the toilet? Show me the water pressure. Show me how you live. Don't show me, how much you spend. Bob Barker, I dated Gio. He's difficult. Oh man, this is kind of like getting on Geo Day, huh? Ezra, I watched his latest videos. I thought he sold. What? Chrissy had another baby boy. Can anybody else confirm this, what Rawson is saying? I thought Tim K sold this channel, and then I got to ask, you say he had another, Chrissy had another baby boy. Is it Tim's? What do we know about this, Rawson? UK seems to be in a real downturn. Yeah, unfortunately, Barry, there is some nasty shit going on there. Jose Rodriguez, good morning. George, September 13th is the day. Yep. Good for you. Paul Henderson, Chrissy posted a video today of them in the Philippines. At least I think that's where they are. Huh. Well. Pablo saying hello. Vlogging live. How goes it? How are you guys? Hope you're doing well. We'll be in the UK next year, going to Scotland, England, maybe Ireland for a few weeks. I think it'll be fun. See my many times great-grandfather's grave. Rob Roy McGregor. Skip it all. I've been to Scotland. I've been to the UK. I've been to England. I've been to Scotland. I thought Scotland was just stunning. Beautiful. Beautiful. Scott says, can't join because of the missing link for iPhone. I got to look into that, Scott. I still can't join, maybe because someone gave me a gift membership. I don't know, Pablo. But apparently the iPhone people are having a problem becoming a member. I'm going to have to do some looks at that. Chosen One, Perimeter has Korean bars. Yes, indeed. They have a couple. They have 2 or 3. They're mostly British bars out there, but there's 2 or 3 Korean bars. Hillbilly Pyro, hey, how are you? Soya, I've been there a few times. It's not bad. You know what? We walked into Soya. It was about 3:45, 3:45. We walked into Soya. All these girls were sitting on the back couch or couches or whatever it is, and just texting away, and they weren't presentable at all. But then they told us, wait, we don't open until 4:00. So Soya, I couldn't give you any idea on. I could tell you from what I saw, I would not repeat. How's that? Pablo and Scott, you have to use a non-Apple product in order to join or renew your membership. Huh. Mike, is it true that PDIC covers 1 million each depositor, not 500K? No. You know what? You know, Ruby, I'm going to have to look that up because I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they moved it up, but I've got to look that up, Ruby. You know, unlike other bloggers, I'm just not going to embellish and lie. I'm just going to have to do it to look it up and let you know. Mike Onstead. So I feel bad right now. I owe Mike an email with Arlene's information. I need to get her insured. And I will say this again, you know, Michael was in, you know, I talked about chicken insurance the other day. All right. And if you missed that video, you need to see it. And I mentioned Mike's name. Michael is probably the best authority on expat insurance, in the health insurance in the Philippines, not to be confused with chicken insurance. Okay. And if you don't know what chicken insurance is, let me know. I'll be happy to let you know. Ace is one of those kind of guys. And by the way, Michael, thank you very much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Ace is one of those kind of guys. If it has a hole, it's a baby doll. It might be. I know Ace. I have breakfast with him occasionally. You know, I run into him. He's just one of those kind of guys. McLovin says, dress up as King Jong-un for Halloween, Mike. I don't know about that. I don't know, McLovin. I think I'd have to skip that one. Bob Barker, 11. Focus on Asia. JR, how are you? Sick Grandpa has some funny stuff sometimes and zero issues when he pokes fun. Yeah, no, he has no, he is. I still have this chest congestion coming up from this head cold. He is an all-purpose troll. And, you know, he made a great statement. Arlen just looked it up for you, Ruby. PDIC is covered for 1 million now. Yes. So, Sid Grandpa made a comment, and I think all of you should understand this comment. In his last live stream, he said, look, if you're going to be a troll, you hit it and forget it. You know, and it reminded me about kind of like, you know, when you're young and you're dating girls, you hit it and forget it. You move on to the next one. That's what Sid Grandpa, you know, I mean, he said he's focused on some people sometimes, but being a troll means you hit it and you move on. I don't think it's a personal thing with him. I really don't. Bruce says, just check, deposits are guaranteed 1 million pesos per depositor per bank. And yeah, now I remember doing that video. Yes, it's not per account. It's per depositor. So in other words, if you have 5 accounts and 1 million pesos in each account and the bank goes bust, you're only going to be insured for 1 million pesos. If you have 50,000 pesos in 5 accounts at one bank, you'll be insured all the way across the board. Arlene said she didn't look it up. She saw it when she was at BDO. Okay, recently. Inflation. Yeah, inflation hit the bar girls all right, Bob. Let me tell you, day shift up on perimeter, those girls are inflated. I mean, they've been eating a lot of fish sticks or something. I still want to see what Go-Go Bobo looks like. You know, I haven't seen Go-Go Bobo in a long, long time. I've never seen him personally, but I haven't seen him in anybody. Have you seen him in a chat? Skip it all. What do you think about the government bill to allow Medicare to be viable in 10 countries? Think it will happen? Philippines is on the list. No, I don't think it'll happen. I do not think it'll happen. You know what? I don't think it'll ever happen in the Philippines, even if it does happen. And that is simply because the Philippines does not have the IT strength to handle the oversight needed for Medicare. It really doesn't. Rob Sells Mexico. Brother, you're now my number one guy to follow in the Philippines. I love your brutal honesty. You know what, Rob? We're not trying to be rude, okay? Really and truly, we're not. We're just trying to be honest. And you have to admit that some men just can't accept that honesty is not always real. And what I mean by that is that some vloggers, they honestly believe what they say, but they're wrong. But you can't convince them otherwise because, it's kind of like your first ex-wife. She was never wrong, right? She would never admit she's wrong. Okay, well, that's the way some of these vloggers are. McLevin, I want to see exactly how you live and what you eat on a regular basis for that $1,000 US. There you go. Yeah, I can tell you right now, you can do it. It can be done. All right. But it's certainly not a lifestyle I would do. Tim K. All right. So Vlogging Life says Tim and Chrissy are in Utah. She has her channel. They were not in the Philippines for half the video. I don't know. You know what? Philly in the Philippines would be a good one. He's more familiar with their stuff. He'd be better to take a look at it. Alan retired. Hello, everyone from Kalinga, Luzon. How you doing, Alan? How's things up in Kalinga? Thank you for joining us, Alan. Philly, 90 in the room. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. Thank you very much, Brian. Yes, please. Please, folks, hit that thumbs up. I would love to see us break 100 today. That would be amazing. Amazing. Tim K started a new channel, 89 subscribers as of yesterday. Channel name, Fans of Tim K. Okay. Now, Rawson, did he actually appear in this new channel? Fans of Tim K. Gonna have to take a look at that one. Okay. Hey, Alan. Sick Ricardo. Hey, Sick Ricardo. Why can't I join on an iPhone or iPad? Apparently, Apple has some kind of problem with this. iPhones have a problem because restrictions by Apple for fees. Workaround is use a web browser like Safari or Chrome rather than the YouTube app. There you go. That's one solution that might work, I guess. Tim K and Chrissy are back at their home in Leyte. Tim purchased a used vehicle. Why? Why would they do this? All right. I thought she was going to nursing school. Did she fail? Did she fall out? Did she flunk? Did life in America? I mean, there's a lot of questions here. A lot. Izzy and Chris. Good morning, Izzy and Chris. How are you guys? Focus is not going to embellish and lie, Mike, but that's how you get the views and subs. Some drama, throw in a few ladyboy thumbnails. Ain't that right? Oh, my God. So the other morning, I'm having breakfast at Tequila Reef. And there's a guy, and he's walking, down A side, coming from like the Angel Witch intersection down A Santos. All right, so he's about maybe 20, 30 yards from Tequila Reef. And you can tell he's drunk. He's struggling. He's really struggling. He gets surrounded by 5 ladyboys. Four of them were for sure ladyboys because I've seen them before. The 5th one might have been a girl, but I got a woman, biological woman. But anyways, they actually corralled him. It looked like you remember those like sheepdogs? You know how the sheepdogs, corral animals? That's what these girls surrounded this guy, and they were laughing and smiling and slowly moving in, and then ended up getting them up against the wall right there where the entrance way, where the trikes have to stop on the entrance into Walking Street. So it was entertaining, but yeah, I guess I could have. You know what? I did take a picture of it, but it's not something that I would put up. Mike asked this question about living cost and standard they could afford in their home country. The Philippines could be better standard of living from what they have back home. Sure, it might be. It might not be. All right. Are they willing to lower their standard, or are they willing to raise their standard? It can go in either direction. Ace, if you're on here, I'll give you $50 if you jump from your balcony and into the pool. Oh man, Izzy, my God, Izzy and Chris going to get everybody. Everybody's getting people in trouble this morning. Apple wants their cut from those memberships, but Alphabet says no, so no YouTube memberships on iPhones. Okay, so if you're on your iPhone and you use Safari instead of Google, I wonder if that would work. Todd says, effective 15 March, the maximum deposit by MDC by the PDA will be increased from 500,000 to 1 million. January, February, March. Yeah, that was in the past. Yeah, I did a video about that, Todd. I did. I remember it now. Hillbillies, it took me a month to get rid of my congestion. Rough. Yeah. I mean, I feel great, but I still have this post-nasal drip. Not as bad as it was. Ruby says, thank you. Thank you. Ruby and Pablo. Pablo, apparently it has to do something with YouTube being owned by Google. Therefore, Apple and Google don't get along. There's some sort of issue with the communication. So if you are on an iPhone and or an iPad, if you use Safari, will it work? I don't know. That's a good question. JR, Philly says you're going to need a bigger steak to get this big dog to bark. I thought Apple and Google got along. Ain't that a fact? Inflation with the bar, I thought that referred to they charge more. They do charge a little more. But those girls are getting inflated too. I mean, I got to tell you something. I haven't been to a bar with the sun up and shining, or daytime, okay? It was actually a little overcast yesterday, in a long time, years maybe, okay? And these girls that we saw yesterday, they were a little bit on the robust size. Is that a decent way to say it? cheaper for Medicare to pay for doctors and the PI than having a person return to the U.S. the same treatment. They say there's a fair chance of going through. You know what, Bruce? It's only cheaper if two things happen. Excuse me. All right, so Medicare has what's called a formulary. They have a specific way that patients have to be treated. And with that being, well, hold on, Bruce answered it himself. Biggest chances, fraud. It'll be so fraudulent. It'll be ridiculous. So fraudulent. Morning all, things nominal here in Patagon City. All right, big boss. Dan P. Medicare outside the U.S. bill has come out a few times over the years. So far, it's never made. I just don't see it happening. I could see them maybe doing it in the UK because the IT systems are fairly simple and the medical standards are fair, but we'll see. Sup, big boss, bug boss. How are you, brother? Can you imagine that what would happen to the expat migration if they got their IT infrastructure up to par and allowed Medicare there? Think many retirees would think twice. Oh, God, yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, if so, it would be incredible. Maximus? I saw you, Maximus. I was up this morning drinking coffee, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I was watching Sick Grandpa's live stream, and I saw you were in there giving them a little bit of hell. That was funny. When you move to Dumba, they issue you a YouTube channel. Oh my God, Dumba. There is another whole situation. That's a whole nother situation. Okay? I mean, you know, you've got people. I can't even go into it, to be honest with you. Bruce says he and Chrissy were both on the channel, but did not realize that was Tim's new channel. Fans of Tim K, huh? Well, Tim will be out there buying subscribers shortly, I'm certain. Okay? He's not going to sit around with less than 100,000 subscribers, and he's not going to wait. Although I would think there would have to be, I don't know. I don't know what the restrictions would be to the people that bought his other channel. I don't know, because in regular business, there'd be a non-compete. I saw the other day on the news they had to destroy tons of imported frozen food, and now my wife will not let me buy only fresh from the market. Will not let me buy only fresh from the market. Alan, I guess it all depends on where and how and everything else that goes a lot like that. I just don't know. But we've never had a problem. Maximus says Chrissy K just uploaded a new video today. Chrissy's working as a caregiver in the U.S. They did not say where they were, but it's rumored they arrested either in Utah or arrived, whatever, I guess Maximus meant. You know what? Why isn't she in nursing school? Why isn't she was in nursing school here? She was in an RN program here. Why she left that program and went to the U.S., I got no idea. I think that was maybe one of the biggest mistakes that you could ever make, because that would have given her a chance. I mean, if she was academically strong enough and clinically strong enough to pass the RN program, all right, she could have, the sky would have been the limit. I think maybe we didn't know the whole truth. Maybe she wasn't in an RN program. Maybe she was in a nurse's aid program. Maybe she's in one now. Maybe she's academically making up. Who knows? But for those of you that are more familiar, let us know. Todd, miss your videos, JR. I miss his videos too. All right. I don't miss getting starved every time I watch them. Man, he has some great food videos. James says, when a vlogger tells you that the Philippines is paradise, it's a red flag. Some say this because they're fairly new. They're new. They're stupid. They're ignorant. I mean, there's 100 different reasons, James. You know that. You know it. You've been around long enough. You know when these guys are spouting bullshit. What's up, Slick Rick? Bruce says, 8 hours ago, Chrissy posted a video saying her life got worse in America. Did not watch it yet. Was that the thumbnail? I guess that must be the thumbnail, Bruce, because you haven't watched it. So that must be the thumbnail. Todd M. Thanks, Todd. We're all good. Bruce, Cinder, that title is just clickbait. Piercy likes living in the U.S. Yeah. It's kind of like, well, who knows? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Thanks, Maximus. I said did not watch. Yep. If Christy had a new baby, that may be the reason why she's given up nursing and they have come back to the Philippines. I don't know, Pablo. I can't see that happening. I just can't see it. I don't know. I'm going to be very interested. I'm telling you, man, I'll tell you who will get to the bottom of it fast. Philly in the Philippines, Philippine antics, all right, and sick grandpa. One of those three people will get to the bottom of it pretty quick, all right? There you go. Have a nice day. Chrissy and Tim K are in the U.S. They just put out a video today. They had winter coats on and went ice skating. Pretty sure you can't find that in the Phils. No. Not at all. One thing some of those home countries have, the Philippines does not, are social help programs, money. Yeah, no, JR's 100% correct. Why anybody that isn't financially secure would leave the U.S. with the social programs and help programs in the U.S. would leave is beyond me. I just don't get it. All this about Tim K is just ear footer. Tim is a mastermind at clickbait for sure. His fingers are in his wife's. Oh, without a doubt, Izzy. Without a doubt. You're 100% correct. And he's got years of experience doing it. I always attribute a sinus infection with cold weather. Must be false with you guys getting sick often. You know what? I think what happens here is I got a sinus infection, head cold, and I don't know where it came from, but because of the air quality, it's a little harder to recover from it, I think. Do you have any interest in cryptos? Soon I will join PDAX to buy some Cardano and XRP just to learn it. You know what? I have some Bitcoin. I just leave it there. It's just sitting. It's just sitting and sitting and sitting. And, when it gets up to about 300, not 300, 3,000. What's 300,000, then I'll sell. Up until then, I'll just hand it down. You just barked, little puppy. Definitely do not take any dating advice from Rike. Unbelievable how people pay him for dating advice. I never really I watched a couple of videos that Rike did. And I just felt like I think it was Rike that would talk about the carrot and the stick stick was either Rike or Sunshine Shoulders. I can't remember. And that's when I just walk away from that shit. If you have to put a girl or woman into financial servitude, if you have to financially manipulate them, then you are one weak son of a bitch. In fact, you are probably lower than whale shit. If you use money to control a woman, or to control anybody, but to control a woman, all right, now I'm not talking about business, I'm talking about a relationship. If you have to use money to control an individual, you are lower than whale shit, okay? I mean, you know, you got the ocean, you got the whale, you got the bottom of the ocean, and then underneath that, buried in that sand, that's where the whale shit is, okay? Rob said, makes it so easy to get girls, even looking like him. You know what? Every dog finds a bone. Every dog can find a bone. Many disappointed men, I guess. California, ask Mog. Oh, yeah, Mogman would know. Mogman would know. I'm going to have to go in the Discord. Mog and I are in the same Discord. I'm going to have to go in that Discord and ask him if he knows anything. I see they ran all the girls and ladyboys away from hanging out in front of Phillies, according to Honey Bunny's live stream. They did the other day. Okay, so here's what happened. Yesterday, I think that's what you're talking about. Yesterday, they had a big ceremony, or it may have been day before yesterday. They had a big ceremony at a place right over there by Phillies. I think it's a Korean store, all right, celebrating the Korean helpline and Korean help desk that the Philippines police have put in place. So, you know, because they did this, every one of the stations now, stations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all have a 24/7 manned help desk, Korean help desk. There's no American help desk. There's no Australian help desk. There's no UK help desk, but there is a Korean help desk. And I guess that just means that we don't rate as important as the Koreans are for the economy here. That's the only thing I can think of. Chrissy may not be in nursing school because of her new baby. I don't know. I do not know. Sunset Several travels as he saw Chrissy's video. She's still studying and working hard. Apparently good for her. Good. Good for her. Absolutely. Absolutely good for her. I think that's a great thing. I'm telling you, an hour and 17 minutes, 80 people in the room, phenomenal. Dan P says, most people that collect any amount of Social Security make too much money to qualify for any of the U.S. social programs. Well, that's not true exactly, Dan. They would qualify for Medicare, and Medicare is a social program. I mean, you don't think that highly discounted health care isn't a social program? So they qualify for that. In addition to that, you know, I don't know. I do agree that, you know, they're not going to apply. They're not going to get WIC. They're not going to get food stamps. They're not going to get all of that. But who knows what they could get? I don't know. I've never been a part of any social program. I've never applied to a social program. I've never even looked into one. So I don't know what's available and I don't know what is viable. So I again, you know, here I am, a vlogger. I'm not going to give you bad information. I'm not going to talk about shit I don't know about. I'm not going to do it. All right. But there are plenty of vloggers that do. Paul says, I have some Tesla stock that I sit on. I sat too long. Hillbilly, 75% of all sand is from fish poo, parrotfish eating rocks. Yeah. And they're, parrotfish are pretty. They are really pretty, and they taste like shit. You don't want to eat one of those. Lower than whale shit. Tim K. Michael says, Tim K is just another younger John, the pissed off British guy. I don't know. I think Tim will spend more money than John would. But I can certainly see your comparison there, Michael. I certainly understand it. Skip it all. I have stock in Apple and Amazon, sitting on it also. Yep. Rike is a perverted, sick ass. You know what? I don't know. But I do know, I hear that from a lot of people. I have heard a lot of negative comments about Rike, but I don't know. I've never chatted with him. I've never looked at it. I never, that was just not my cup of tea. Can you order kimchi at the Korean help desk? No, I don't think so, JR. I really don't. But I do think that, I think they probably have the little glass jar with the extra small condoms. Kind of like, you would go to a health clinic and they give the girls condoms. Well, they've got that. So a little bit more chicken insurance. Small chicken insurance. I watched a vlogger for many years, religiously for years in Angeles, but when changed to a drama and putting down small channels, I gave up on them. Big shame. Yeah, Alan, the vlogging community here is probably dynamic. It moves around a lot. It really does. Rike sells a bachelor course on how to ram certain. Oh, yeah. Didn't he do that? He was doing that. Didn't he do a video about marital aids? Isn't that what it was about? Froggy per Andy Omar. All right. Yeah. Rike or Froggy. Man, I wonder where Andy is. I miss Andy. Horace, it will be interesting to see Angeles City after the Indians take over in a few years. Will there be an Indian help desk at the police station? If you think prices are high now, just wait. I will tell you this. I will tell you, it's just a personal opinion, a personal observation, and it might be biased because of the news. But I swear I see more Indians now than I ever have. I'm not seeing big numbers yet, but with that new 14-day visa, yeah. What happened to Philly's lawsuit against Ilo, or is it the other way around? I didn't know Philly had a lawsuit against, I don't know, Philly's in the channel. Hector, ask him. How much is the course? Asking for a friend. Bob, don't do it. Don't spend that money on Rike's course. Hillbilly, why is Medicaid that they give those that never worked better than Medicare that you must work for to have? Why is Medicaid that they give those that's never worked better? It's not. Medicaid, it's hard to describe. There are all Medicare physicians will qualify for to be Medicaid physicians. It's a pricing plan, essentially. Yes, Tim K did appear. My history does not show Tim K because I do not recommend this channel. Okay. All right. Dan P, if they have over 2,000 in assets, car, bank account, etc., they will not get any housing assistance, senior housing, Section 8, or food assistance. There you go. So Dan knows more about it than I do. I don't know anything about the social programs. I really don't. Wow. Issues with South Koreans. Is it that bad there with them? There's no issues with them. It's just that they're targets. There's been violence against them because they carry around cash and they're pretty small. You can kick their ass pretty easy. They do stupid shit. Alan retired in the Philippines. That channel sounds very familiar, but we don't need to name names. Pat D. Medicaid is free for the poor and those who do not want to work. Medicare, you have to pay from your Social Security check for the people that worked all their lives. Yeah, that's true. But what do you get for it? All right. A coronary bypass list price at a hospital in America is about $340,000 per artery, okay, for a single artery, single vessel. Whereas under Medicare is only going to pay about $40,000. Horace, in my neck of Florida woods, 95% of privately owned convenience stores and privately owned hotels are Indian owned. We call them Hindu Hiltons, and all within the last 5 years. Yeah. It's the Patels. The Patels own it all. That's the way it is. I'm actually aware of that situation. I find most vloggers in the Philippines are former used car and snake oil salesmen. I would never buy any of them a beer if I saw them in the Philippines. Yeah, Michael. There are a couple of used car salesmen for sure. There's no doubt. Look, there are just broke ass people here. Okay? There are broke ass YouTubers they could survive on their Social Security, but it wouldn't be the kind of life that they're making otherwise. Okay? That's just all there is to it. Horse. The USA gets the Indians who are ambitious and open businesses. The Indians visiting the Philippines and Thailand are staying 4 to a budget room, sharing beers with 4 straws. That is gross, JR. Okay? Come on. That is nasty. Wade, you don't need a bachelor's course for the Philippines. Look nice, smell nice, walk down the street. You'll get tackled by women. It's like an Axe commercial. I don't know if it's quite like that, Wade. You know what? Maybe, Wade, if you look nice, smell nice, and you're under 47, you might get tackled, but that might be a ladyboy too. You better be careful. You better be careful. Jose says, a large fluctuation of Indians is not a good thing. Don't care what anybody says about it. Don't care if they're ambitious or not. I think that's something that we would cover in the members only side, because that's going to be a pretty controversial type of subject, Jose. I agree. Let's see here. We'll go here. Let me see. So, what else is going on? I think we've talked about people. That's for sure. We've had a lot of fun with that. I don't know what the deal with Chrissy K and Tim K is. I have no idea. I do find it very surprising that she would have had another baby. already. I mean, I can't see her going to school, being a caregiver, and having a brand new child. So I'm not sure about that. I canceled my Part B 3 years ago, and let me put this back up. There's a couple comments. I canceled my Part B 3 years ago and saved the amount for 3 years. Now I have $350,000 in savings and PhilHealth for emergencies. There you go. Yeah, I don't carry Part B. I have standard, straight up Medicare, which I've never used. No problem, Jose. No problem at all. No, not at all. I just think it's a great topic for the members only section because it can be very contentious, very argumentative. And it's not that I want to have that, but I want people to debate. I don't want them to argue. I want them to debate. Ruby, really ironic that a lot of retirees didn't save enough for their retirement and just relying on government pension. A lot of working. Yeah, Ruby, I've never understood that because in the U.S., I mean, I'm 65 plus years old. Okay. And I can tell you that ever since I was a kid, it was beat into me that Social Security is a supplement. It is not meant for you to retire on. So what I find interesting is certain vloggers live in the Philippines, yet continuously trash the Philippines. Yeah, no, Brian, that's a really solid point of view. I mean, that statement, that's true. I love the Philippines. I'm having a blast in the Philippines. There's nothing that I need I can't buy here in the Philippines. All right? Arlene and I find traveling in and out of Clark to be excellent. We find all kinds of, food, whatever we want is great. In some spots. I mean, let's face it. It's not the best food in the world. Okay? It's not, you're not going to get a 3-star Michelin restaurant in Angeles City anytime soon. And who wants one? Who gives a shit? Have you seen how small the portions are at a 3-star Michelin restaurant? For God's sakes. But fragrant Thai, great Thai food. Great Thai food. Believe it or not, I had lunch at Margarita Station yesterday, and I had the French dip sandwich, and it was great. Bob says, can you do a video on how to use the squat toilet in my 4,000 peso? No, I cannot, but maybe you could ask one of these other vloggers that has more advice about, I can't think offhand because I don't watch these guys that live in poverty. All right. I don't watch these guys that live on $800 a month or $1,000 a month. I have no idea what their bathrooms are like, but you could ask them. Horace says, my snooty Filipino wife, beautiful wife regardless, says if the Philippine government were to raise the minimum expat income level to $6,000 net monthly, most of the nuisance, well, sure they would. Sure they would. Absolutely, they would go away. But then you'd be doing away with tax. Oh, yeah, that's another thing we're going to bring up. Did you see that DHL, FedEx, British Postal Service, Australian Postal Service are not going to ship packages of under $800 or less to the U.S. They're going to stop that because there's no de minimis anymore. So it used to be you could order something from overseas. If it was less than $800, there was no tariff. That ends, I think, at the end of this month. For a couple countries, it's already ended. But that means, and this is something else we'll be talking about in the member section, that means there's no more Temu, no more Shein, Alibaba, all right? You're not going to see that shit. You're not going to see it because those orders are always less than $800. All that cheap clothing manufactured coming in from Thailand and from China, that's not going to happen. And not unless they fix that de minimis. All right, DHL announced it. They've announced it. FedEx announced it. Everybody. They all announced it yesterday. Ruby, older U.S. generations, including myself, have defined benefit plans along with Social Security before 401k. Yeah, absolutely. Todd's 100% correct. And Todd worked, I think it was Nestle and somebody else, but Todd's correct. They had defined benefit plans, but now, you don't see defined benefit plans of the older type anymore. There are some hybrid types that are still out there, but you don't see them. It's all moved to 401ks. Squat toilet. Absolutely, big boss. It's a porcelain pedestal about 3 inches tall, about, you can't see me because of this, probably 3 feet by 3 feet, and a hole. And you got to squat. That's it. The 401 came along, folks had to save themselves, but a huge group didn't learn this. Yeah, and they did away with the defined benefit plans. But there was so much corruption in the defined benefit plans, so you have to keep that in mind. In a defined benefit plan, you had 2 groups. All defined benefit plans had employees split into 2 groups. One group was rank and file. One group was highly compensated. And how the benefits were arranged and shared between those 2 groups, there was a lot of corruption in. In fact, IBM is who got popped for it. IBM cost IBM hundreds of millions of dollars. They got popped for it back in the late 70s, early 80s, something like that. Horace says, I'm 39. By the time I'm old enough to collect, it'll be long gone. I consider my Social Security, Medicaid, tax as a gift. Nah, Horace, you just need to vote. Vote the right way and convince everybody to vote the right way. Don't give up on that. It may not be the same, but don't give up on it. GD, it depends on how much you put into it. The average, from what I understand, is around $1,700 a month. Also depends on when you claim it. Start at 62 versus 67 versus 70. Yes. Yeah. So I did a lookup the other day. When I was arguing with somebody about Social Security, the single person's U.S. average, not mean, but average, all right, not a statistical mean, but a statistical average, is 1701 was the information that I got. Ruby says that was similar in Australia before 2000, defined benefits, but afterwards it's just regular superannuation fund like your 401k. There you go. Thank you, Ruby. With our recent inflation, friend of mine is asking what's the average cost of bar fines there now. I can tell you I asked at all 3 of those bars yesterday. So, excuse me. The really nappy bar, the nappy, ugly bar that had like the girls that looked like they just finished eating at the all-you-could-eat buffet, that was 4,000 pesos. The brown sugar was 4,000 pesos for 3 hours and 5,000 pesos for the next shift. And the other one was 5,000 pesos. But these are not the walking street prices. So there you go, Alan. You can tell your friend that. The Indian truck driver that killed 3 in Florida is a hot topic. No shit. Absolutely. How these guys, I don't understand this. I just don't understand it. How did he get a CDL? How did that happen? Focus on it. Don't mention good food here in Angeles, Mike. There are certain vloggers who can't stand the city, even if it put them on the map. There is good food. There's not tremendous food. I mean, there's not 3-star Michelin food, but a couple of the buffets, a couple of the restaurants and the casinos out on Clark are excellent. You know what? There is oh my God. There is a restaurant coming, the mall that's across the street from SM Clark, North Mall is North City Mall, something like that. Okay. Fu Tai, it's on the tip of my, Fu Tai Tin Phi Dum. I don't know. There's a restaurant going there that is to die for. Absolutely to die for. So, that's a big deal. I didn't think there'd ever be a reason for me to even want to go to that mall, but to eat at that, it's a dim sum restaurant. It's absolutely great. But again, it's one of those things. It's not going to be good value for your money. All right. It's not going to be good value for your money. It's overpriced. They have one in LA or maybe two in LA. I know there's one at least, Din Tai Fu or something like that. All right. There's 1 or 2 in San Francisco. There's probably about 10 of them all throughout the U.S. All right. And they are absolutely delicious. Philly, exactly, Brian. Dino, what's going on? Yes, but a large number of people in the transition didn't learn or were not taught to save. How can you not be taught to save money? All right. If, and that, something, if you were stupid enough to not save money, that's why you're in the Philippines. Is that what it is? Is that how we're getting some of these vloggers that are that dumb? There you go, have a nice day. Phil says, just buy a 500 peso toilet seat unless you can't afford the shit and comfort. Yeah, but those squat toilets, they're not they don't even have a bowl. I mean, that's a hole in the ground. GD, the longer you wait, the more you get. If you max out every year, you could get almost $5,000 per month. It's all over the board. Yeah. If I waited until I was 72 to retire, okay, I would be making over $5,000 a month if I had waited to 72. Currently in Australia, employers are required by law 12% of an employee's wage. Right. And Ruby, but here's the deal. where's the incentive for the employee to save? I mean, I'm listening to some of these Australian guys. They didn't put any money away. None. They just, their employers were putting away 12% a year for them of their wages. And they didn't add to it. But I talked to this. So I did talk to these two Australian guys a couple days ago. Ran into them. Nice guys. Really nice guys from Melbourne. I'm pretty sure it was Melbourne. Okay. And I wanted to talk to them about retirement. They're both retired. Okay. And they told me that it's not required for them to put money away, that the companies put the money away. And then in turn, some of those companies you can't even add to. You have to have your own separate account. So I don't know. Thank you, Skip. Bobby Hill says Korean toilets. All right. So Todd says, I have all three: defined benefit plan, hybrid plan with a large lump sum pending, and a 401k. Skip it all. I don't have a pension plan as per se. I have a 401k that I put a buttload of money into. I saved no money other than that 401k. Before I retired, I put in 26. Wow. You were doing was that a catch up? The 26%? What they call it, catch up deposits? Not catch up like KATCH, but catch up like CATCH. If Philippines made $6,000 minimum a month for retirement requirement for expats, they take a bite out of their own GDP. Foreign retirees and business owners bring and spend a lot. Yeah, they would. It would not be. The Philippines is dependent on expat money. It needs it. It definitely needs it. The squat toilets are nasty. Why would a foreigner want to live in a place like that? I haven't seen a squat toilet only in Korea, which has many. Yeah, they are nasty. They really are. I mean, think of it like this. How many men, and I'm sure nobody knows, okay? Let's try and theoretically post this correctly, okay? You can walk into any men's bathroom, and there's a bowl that's 2.5 feet in diameter, all right? And there's piss everywhere. And sometimes worse. So if we can't hit a 2.5 foot bowl, what makes you think some guy is going to stand over I haven't seen a squat toilet in a while, but it's about maybe like 12 inches long and 6 inches wide, oval. What makes you think his aim is going to be any better? He's going to shit all over the side of the toilet. That's just the bottom line. Hi, Mike. Everyone, good morning. Good evening. Hey, Bruce. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Bruce. How did he get a CDL? The left coast is the answer. Yeah. Well, I heard there was an argument. I heard that he actually got his CDL in Washington. He got a license and his CDL up in Washington, but I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. Din Sum Ting Wong. I don't know. No. I love the tagline of the Spearmint Rhino. Dozens of beautiful girls and 3 ugly ones. Yeah, I've been to the Spearmint Rhino. Which Spearmint Rhino? Now, that's a good question, Hector. There's more than one Spearmint Rhino. There's a Spearmint Rhino in Vegas, a really big one. And then there's the Sapphire Club in Vegas also. Quantum leap ban, DC. How has the increased military in Subic affected Angeles? Not squat. First off, there's very little. There are no permanent full-time operating bases in the Philippines of the U.S. Now, the U.S. leases space at, I think it's 9 different areas now, to have a rapid response situation. And those are very small, very limited. All right. Now, they do big military exercises, and there is talk of a lot of different stuff coming. But we have to, you need to remember the Philippine people don't particularly want U.S. military stationed here. They want the U.S. military support, but they do not want the U.S. military stationed here. And I think a lot of that has to do with an older generation whose parents and grandparents were subject to the U.S. occupation. I think the younger generation may feel a little differently. Horace says, I've treated many U.S. expats to a free meal or drinks after hearing of their tales of woe. I also give to U.S. panhandlers in Cebu City. Breaks my heart to think that they would be better off in the U.S. I don't know, Horace, I got to tell you something. Here in Angeles City, we know of 2 expats that are permanent beggars, that are liars, point blank. We've seen it on multiple occasions. These guys scamming other expats. So you got to just be, the way it is. Z Restaurant at Clark Hilton has great dim sum, all you can eat lunch Wednesday through Sunday. Yeah, it does. And you know something? That's good stuff. It really is. There's good food here. There really is, JR. You know that. There is good food here. There's just shitty food here too. On few occasions that we've been to the casino at Clark, you can see Koreans holding bundles of pesos of 100K while playing, and they were just playing for $2,000 for fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Korea, I think, if I remember correctly, Korea is very, very limited on casinos. And I can't remember whether it's Thailand or Korea that only has one casino that those locals can go to in the entire country. Somebody could look that up. Din Tai Fung, Hector's got it. Din Tai Fung, soupy dumplings on Zilong Bao. Yes, and it is good stuff, Hector. I have heard Americans complain about in the U.S. for years. Yeah, Americans love to complain, okay? Americans love to complain like vloggers love to lie. That's the bottom line. Employees are bound by law. Yeah, but they're not required to save their own money. In other words, they have the fund, the 12% by the employer. They don't have to add to that. I have always gotten the best food at mom and pop restaurants, the old truck stops. F5 star restaurant was a waste of money. Yeah, I don't know. I've gotten great food in all kinds of places, to be honest with you. I think many are in the Philippines broke because, this is CJ brought, because they had their life in order, and then the wife realized, why share? Yeah, and you know what? I think CJ brings up an important point. I call them losers, all right? But they may not be losers. based upon their own faults. Okay? They may very well be a loser, but due to circumstances beyond their control. There are some vicious women out there in every country. It doesn't matter. It's not just American women screwing men over. There are plenty of Filipino women that have screwed men over here. Plenty. All right, it happens. There are plenty of Thai men who have, there are plenty of women in Thailand who have screwed over Americans or other expats. There are plenty of American women that have screwed over American men. There are plenty of Filipino women that have, it happens everywhere. All the Gordon Ramsays in the Philippines. I've never liked any of the Gordon Ramsay places. I've eaten at 2 Gordon Ramsay restaurants, one in Vegas and where was the other? I think the other one was in Miami. What's up? Correct, Donna. Skip it all. It's going to get worse. Wages are not keeping up with inflation, cost of food, housing, designer clothes, design. And that brings me to the next point. I am getting tired of hearing people talk about the Philippines has the most expensive electricity. How the hell did you not know electricity was going to be expensive in the Philippines? Okay? All right. We should make it very visible. All right. If you are going to come to the Philippines, look on a damn map. Realize this. It's islands. It's not connected to the mainland. All right. Everything has to be shipped in by tanker. You don't see oil wells out here. Okay. You don't see oil. I think there actually is 2 oil refineries. And when I say oil refineries, that's where they can take crude oil, refine it into petrol, gasoline. I think there are 2 of those in the Philippines. All right. There are no coal mines, or if there are, they're very small here in the Philippines because under the dirt, it's a rock. Otherwise, it would have been washed away 1,000 years ago. There are no nuclear plants here. If you've got to be, expats have got to understand that electricity is going to be expensive. You're either going to have to generate it with hydro, which is limited, or solar, which is almost non-existent, or wind power, which is almost non-existent, or coal, gas, or oil. And all of that has to be shipped in. How stupid did people think? You just think it's going to be cheap? Not going to happen. You can definitely add to superannuation. It's legislated. Yeah, you can add to it. You can add to it. But do you have to, GD? That's the question. GD, the company doesn't decide which fund it's the worker. Right. And that's like a 401k in the U.S., okay? It's the individual that decides which fund. Ruby says, but in Australia, you can contribute to your fund as salary sacrifice, meaning that it's only taxed at 15% instead of 32 or 40% depending on your income bracket. Right. Mike, I'll be back. And if you're good, Bruce, good. It'll be good to see you back in town. You're going to be coming to Angeles. Paul says, if you pay the max and retire at 79, you can get 5,006. If you draw at 66, the max is a little over 3,500 a month. I do not know what. Oh, sorry, at age 70. Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't sound right. But yes, Paul corrected it at age 70. Yes. Sunset Travel. I can't imagine trying to squat after a few beers. I can't imagine trying to squat as tall as you are, Sunset. But I'm not really here to talk about your bowel habits. Philly says, I've gone into bathrooms in the Philippines and the sign says no standing on the toilet. Oh, I see those signs all the time. Brian, certainly you've seen them everywhere. No ketchup on the 401k, put it in Roths. Yeah. Then got to the max level and moved somewhere I forgot. Sucks getting old. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Anyone can piss on the floor, be a man, and piss on the ceiling. How about just piss in the bowl? All right? I mean, think about it for a second. Have you never walked into a men's restroom and you're facing a urinal, which has got to be about, it's got to be 3, maybe 5 square foot at Target, and there's piss all over the place. How bad is it that men can't piss? It's I don't know how women put up with it. Anyone can piss on the floor. In the USA, it's 50% put into Social Security plus other for Medicaid, 7.5% for Social Security, way more than in Australia. I'd have to look it up. 7.5% from the employees and employers. Plenty of cash for license rackets going on. I've seen videos of them getting busted. Yeah. Paul, why work till 70 when you don't know how long you'll have healthy retirement years? Most people in their 80s or older regret not retiring early. I love retiring. A ranger, the military's in Subic. It has Red Street on off-limits list. It's like yeah. Hey, Ranger, how are you doing? How are things going? Are you on your way back yet? Are you doing okay? If they raise the income requirements for 6K, I would have to move out of the Philippines. A lot of people would. A lot of people would have to move out. Koreans are not allowed to gamble. You have to have a foreign passport. There you go. All right, there you go. Have a nice day. Yeah, I knew it was one of them. I think Thailand is also the same way. They have one casino in Thailand that the locals can go to. And that may be the same way as in Korea. I don't know. Ruby, many financial advisors will tell you to draw Social Security at age 62 for the reason you just mentioned. I started taking my Social Security at 62. I absolutely did. Yeah, my wife talked me out of giving money to expat panhandlers despite their stories. Her motto is come here broke, leave here broke. And you know what? That's a smart woman. Don't give money to those people. All right? She's wise, man. Or curry pot. The jury's out. Nah, she's just wise. That's the bottom line. Philippines, plenty of them. I worked in detention centers. It's nasty. There you go. 6.2% Social Security from employee, 6.2% from the employer, which is the employee if you're self-employed. Medicare, 1.45 from the employee and employer. Total 7.65 employee, 7.65 employer. Exactly. A 300 peso meal from Fragrant will fill me up same way as a 80 steak from Ruth's Chris. Yeah, it will. I will tell you, Fragrant has the absolute here in Angeles City. We haven't been to every Thai place in town because there's a ton of them. But some of the best Thai food. I mean, their Thai red curry, yellow curry. Oh, it was great. I may go there today. God. Hi, Tim. Wise advice from your wife. Todd says there's a break-even point in taking Social Security 62 for 70% of full retirement versus taking full retirement. If you die before 77, it's better to collect at 62. Yeah, there's a lot of numbers out there about it. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it, too. Seems like you have to have stone heart to navigate out there. Just pass around with blinders on. No, you don't. You have to understand that there are beggars and then there are professional beggars. And you probably can't tell the difference. You probably can't. So just consider them all professional. Todd. So Ruby says, Todd, so in the U.S. employers are only required 6.2% to contribute your funds. It's way too low. That Ruby, that's because it's required that the employer put 6.2%, and then they would take 6.2% out of the employee's check to add to it. Okay? That's for the Medicare side, but that doesn't count a 401k. Like, for instance, with my employees, all right, I matched 100% of their contributions up to the maximum. At that point in time, the maximum was up to $6,000 a year. And then after that, they kept contributing, but I didn't match anymore. I could go up to $6,000 a year per matching. So I would pay Medicare, all right? They'd pay their share of Medicare. And then 401k, if they put in $1,000 a month, I was matching $1,000 a month up to $6,000. A 300 peso from Vagrant will fill me up. Yep. I don't know what's... skip it all. Have some acreage in BFE in South Texas, paying $400 or $500 for my electric bill. Sucks. No choice where I live. Only one provider. Yeah, I understand that. But people think it's so cheap in the Philippines, and it ain't. It's not. In comparison to, is it less expensive? Yeah, it is less expensive. But you get less, too. Bruce is going to be back in Angeles. Good. I hope I see you. Paul says, I served at Clark for 18 months. Never took a crap off base. Pissing on the ceiling in a different way, making it rain. You guys are sick out there this morning. Sick. Mike, you know this. Some jurisdictions hire 401k admins by virtue of their political. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Hector is 100% correct. There are corrupt situations, and that's just all there is to it. Happy Heroes Day in the Philippines. Yes, it is. Heroes Day. Ranger, a new pacemaker heading back in October. Good, Ranger. Let us know when you get here. Come and show up. Breakfast is on me, big boy. I'll tell you, I like Ranger for collectors. He's a nice guy. He really is fun to talk to. Dan P., I was a bartender when I was in college. I had to check bathrooms for dead bodies before locking up for the night. Ladies' rooms make men's rooms look like operating booths. I've heard, I've owned a business with both men's and women's rooms, but not a general bar. I did own a bar. As many of you know, I owned a gentleman's club at one time. It was purely a business investment. And I will tell you, the ladies' room was worse than the men's room. So I can understand that. When I was in the military, they used to give us a list of places not to visit. It was like giving us a roadmap to the best clubs. Typical squid. Yeah, don't go here. And then, but that's the first place you go. Is it true that some Filipinos in public? Yes, it's very true. Very true. Very true. You'll see signs in some restrooms that says, do not flush toilet paper. They have a trash can. That's where you put it. Quantum Leap says, I live in D.C. with my Filipino girlfriend. I want to live in the Phils to try it, but she warns if I get sick, unless we have lots of money, I'm screwed, even in Angeles. I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's see here. Emergency room admission, tons of critical care, emergency medicine, cardiac catheterization, and 3 stents put in. I was in the hospital for a week. It was $20,000 US. So, I mean, it's going to depend on how much money you got. But you know what? What you could do, if you want to try it, Michael Onstead, O-N-S-T-E-D, Michael. You should Google him in the Philippines. He can get you insurance. He's the best guy to talk to for temporary insurance. Okay? And then take a look at it from that. Then you can sit there and say, hey, I'm covered in case anything happens. Let's go explore it. Word of advice when traveling or coming to make sure even to this day, I carry toilet paper pretty often in my sling bag. Once you've seen a Walmart toilet stall that has remained unclean for 30 minutes, you can handle anything and you will stand. Look, I'm going to tell you, the public bathrooms in Mexico were not a real big treat either. When I came to the Philippines in 2005, I saw 4 girls in Manila squat on the toilet in my nice hotel room. I'm glad I haven't seen it since. How did you fit 4 girls on one toilet? Let's see how that goes. My current employer, where I've worked 3 or 4 years, matches my 401k dollar for dollar up to 1%. If I contribute 6%, they match 3.5%, but they pay into my hybrid pension also 8% and 1%. Yeah, that's a great deal, Todd. Texas Roadhouse has $85, 22-ounce bone-in ribeye, 2 of those plus 2 apps and 2 margaritas each put my wife and I back almost $85 for 20. The Texas Roadhouse here does not have an $85. You know what? It might. So we have a Texas Roadhouse over at SM. It ain't cheap though, Horace. Horace will tell you. Companies I worked at, most matched 401k the first 5%. So if I put in 10, I'd get a total of 15. Yeah. New employees get no hybrid pension, but get a much bigger match. Yeah. And that's what happened. I mean, we did away with the pension defined benefit plans and moved them into the bigger match. 100% correct. Okay, folks, I hate to do it, but I have got to get motivated. I do have a few things I've got to take care of today. So, first off, I want to say to all of you, thank you so much for dropping by. We appreciate it. We really and truly do. Number 2, please do consider becoming a member. All right, we're going to kick that off. Our members only section kicks off on September the 6th. And we just really would appreciate it. So otherwise, we want you to just all be safe, all be happy, and best of luck, best of wishes. Take care all. Be good. Bye-bye.